Hello. You guys ready to get started? I'm really excited for this masterclass. I think it's the tool, the process I've been trying to give for the last year, but I haven't put it together this simply, this clearly, this efficiently yet. And I've done that for you today. So I'm really excited to give this to you guys. I'm really excited for you to try it out and get some takeaways. So, believing new things, believing impossible things is a tool only reserved for emotional adults who have their ego in check. An emotional child is not equipped to believe impossible things. And it's important you know that ahead of time. Because if you go to try to believe impossible things and you are still an emotional child who doesn't know how to regulate their emotions, handle their fears, manage their thoughts, you're going to have a miserable fucking time with this. So you're better off just first becoming an emotional adult before you try to learn and believe impossible things. I made a waiting room. Hi, Chloe. Welcome. Okay. So if you don't have your ego in check, you will hate this process. You'll want to quit. You'll want to blame everything not going your way outside of you. You'll think it's a problem when things don't go your way. So that is why the first and most crucial prerequisite for learning how to believe new things is that you must be an emotional adult. And so that what I mean by that is it's basically just learning how to be responsible for your thoughts and feelings, for your actions and results, and realizing the power that is behind them. Most people are so careless with their thoughts because they don't recognize the power behind them. So once you're an emotional adult, you're ready to do this because you understand and acknowledge the power behind your thoughts and feelings. And so it really doesn't have to take long to become an emotional adult. In fact, I think you can learn how to believe new things and become an impossible adult, become an emotional adult at the same time. And that's kind of what I'm doing with my current clients is they're doing both at once. I think our capacity for the wisdom we can hold is so much greater than we assume it is. And so I really think we're capable of some incredible shit if we just challenge ourselves enough in a way that's not like burning you out and hustling. But anyway, this skill really saves you years of stress and confusion and heartache. But yeah, we're just going to get into it because I've got the next 45 minutes packed with information, so much information that will change the way you think about change. Change is one of those things that we are petrified of, and it's not a reflection of our personal character. It's a reflection of our brain and our biology. So I want you guys to, if you need to, rewatch this as many times as you need to really understand and implement this process. And I would even take it one step at a time. I'm going to give you a 5-step process that has really simplified it and condensed it into a very simple process you can use. But I'm also going to give you 3 empowering beliefs that you can start using today to start believing impossible things. But before we get to that process, I want to explain what it even means. What do I mean when I say believe impossible things? I want to be really clear about that and why it is the piece you have been missing, why it is the most crucial puzzle piece. And you're going to be so excited once you have it. So let's begin. The purpose of believing impossible things is very simple. Let's not complicate it. It is to blow your own mind. And this is the most rewarding experience a human can have. I think it's like a privilege to have this experience while you're being alive. To blow your own mind is like the most humbling, amazing, rewarding thing you can experience. And I want everyone to experience it. That's why I'm so passionate and I get tongue-tied because I want everyone to blow their mind with what they're capable of, what they were wrong about, what they thought they needed and what they thought they wanted and what they actually have created for themselves. This journey is unlike anything else. And It's so simple once you make this one shift of what the purpose of believing in possible things is. It's also to have fun with what you can control. I think the way we're raised and conditioned is we feel very helpless. We feel very bitter. We feel very self-pitying in our self-dialogue and how we show up. And that's not fun at all. And it shouldn't be fun. No one should make that fun. We should just change our mindset around what we're choosing to focus on, because it all starts to be a lot more fun when you make these shifts, because you can control your thoughts. You can't control what other people think, do, or how they behave. You can't control what's going on in the economy. You can't control terrorism. You can't control poverty, but you can do so much when you have fun with what you can control. You can give so much. You can contribute so much when you have fun with what you can control. It's incredible, just the idea that you're supposed to be having fun and not be feeling miserable, behind, left out, right? Like you got the short end of the stick in life. You're not supposed to feel that way. That's our society just confused about what the human potential is. It's not to be squandered feeling defeated and limited. It's to recognize your unlimited nature and start having some freaking fun with it. This means no pressure, no stress, no strife, no hustling, no killing yourself to get something. If you're not having fun on your way to getting something, you're doing it wrong. You can have fun on your way there and get everything you want. I'm living proof. I've done it about 5 times now, and I will never stop. And then finally, you win or learn. There's no losing. There's no such thing as failing in this process. There's no such thing as feeling ashamed or rejected or embarrassed. There's just conscious control over your thoughts, over the decisions you're making, and every step of the way you are winning or learning, and you get to define which one is which. For me, my wins are my lessons, right? And my lessons are my wins. They're the same thing. So I don't think the winning is just at that end game when I have what I want, because it's not about the destination. It's about that whole journey. And so I'm winning all along the way as I'm learning, becoming, and growing. It's very powerful. Before I move forward, I have to tell you what it is not for. Believing in possible things is not for seeking validation, approval. It's not for proving your self-worth or trying to find it. Whenever you're searching for self-worth, you are taking a path away from your heart, away from your actual purpose, away from your soul. You're taking the crappy path. It's not for vengeance or revenge or sticking it to the person who wronged you. If you have any of these intentions, you just don't try to believe in possible things. Get yourself to emotional adulthood first, get that ego in check first, and then move forward. It's not for being better or more worthy than others. We have to notice how we live in a very hierarchical, I don't know how to say that, society, right? We have so many layers of exploitation and oppression happening externally that we have internalized very unconsciously. And these are in the form of capitalism, patriarchy, sexism, racism, ableism, all of these exploitations of the human soul that we're just like normalizing and thinking like this is just the way it is, so let's keep it that way. No. So we don't want to use this process as a sneaky internalized way to just oppress ourselves, exploit ourselves, or exploit others, right? We're not trying to seek gain on the backs of humans and hurt them at the same time. This is a very well-rounded experience where it's devoid of these things. You have to get these things in check, handled and sorted through before you're equipped to believe in possible things. It is a prerequisite. If any of this is hidden out in your psyche, it's going to come up in your process of believing in possible things, and it's going to derail your progress because, and I love it for a good reason, you can't do the incredible work of believing in possible things with any of this in your heart. And this is a very spiritual thing for me, because when I think of unconditional love and being an unconditionally loving and faithful and trusting person, it takes so much self-awareness and so much humility to humble yourself and handle all of these things before you set something that feels impossible to you and go after it. So I hope that makes sense. Okay. So there's the you right now who's kind of like wavering between like, I'd like to believe in possible things, but I'd also like to stay right where I am. But then there's a future you that you absolutely do connect with because it's the part of you that has the desire to grow or transform or have more or be more or do more, whatever it is. You are very much connected to this future version of you. And I know this is a little small text, so I'll go over it. But it's anytime you have that feeling, that sense, that knowing of, oh, I think I'm capable of that. I think I'm supposed to do that. But what's stopping you is all of these things. So let's look at it. What's going on in the you right now is you live for safety and survival. And what that means is you're not aware that all of your motivations stem through this filter of, is it going to feel safe? Am I going to survive? Your brain is fighting to survive in a way where it's not acknowledging that, like, you have a home and heat and water and food. It doesn't even know that stuff is there because it's so focused on survival, which actually increases the amount of fear you feel. That makes you feel unsafe. So it's very paradoxical, very backwards. And it's so good to gain awareness in what's driving our need for safety and survival. You know what I do now, because I live in this future version of myself already, is I just decide I know I'm not going to survive. I'm not making it out of here alive no matter what I do or don't do. And so my brain thinks stuff like speaking out, disagreeing with people, changing my habits isn't safe. It's probably wrong. I'm not going to make it out of here alive, so I'm just going to do it anyway. And so that comes from, right, all this stuff, which feels very uncomfortable to just say, I know you want to survive and I your biggest care in the world, but I'm going to die anyway. So let's just fucking do it. Let's just have some fun. Let's just go out and we can fail if we need to, and it'll be all right. The other piece of the you right now, the way you operate right now, is you need certainty before you'll do anything. You need to know things like, how does it end? What happens in the middle part? What's the statistics of it? What are the logistics? I need certainty or I'm not budging. And this is a limitation on your power, what you're capable of, because you in the future, who's doing incredible unlimited things, knows first how to create your own certainty, but it also doesn't need certainty in circumstances around you in order for you to move forward. So this is a severe limitation because thinking you need certainty ahead of time will keep you stuck and in place and actually pull you back to less safety, less certainty, because you're showing up in such a frazzled, stressed out, overwhelmed way. So again, very paradoxical. You now are also dysregulated emotionally and with your nervous system. And so your brain is like, I don't trust you to go do a bunch of changes, to go transform, because we're so dysregulated right now. And we also have a warped perception that's hand in hand with that emotional dysregulation. Our warped perception, what I mean by that is your thoughts that you're just believing, there's a running narrative of thoughts that you're just believing are true. They're warping your ability to regulate your emotions, choose your emotions on purpose, and decide how you want to show up and what you want to create. All of these things are a disservice to your future self. And so we need this vessel in the middle to transform them. And then you also have no idea what's possible. I like to talk about what's possible a lot. I love the physics of it. I love the spirituality of what's possible. To me, the realm of possibility is literally anything. If you can imagine it, you could do it. And I think this is where thought leaders like Einstein or all the activists that have gone down in history, they started here, but they ended here because they didn't limit what was possible. Everyone around big thinkers, big change makers, the people around them are saying, you can't do that. That's not realistic. You have no evidence. You're crazy, right? They get told all these things, but it doesn't stop someone who understands what's actually possible for their lives. So when you are in this state of needing safety, survival, certainty, you're not understanding the limitlessness of possibilities of what you're capable of. And you're probably one of those other people orbiting the big thinker saying, you can't, you're thinking too big, you're crazy. Right. And so I didn't want to be one of those people. I've definitely, this is where I started too. I was one of those people, but I was just like, that's not cool. Like, I want to hang out with the people who are creating incredible shit and blowing their mind and getting everything they want and not feeling limited by societal norms, right? By their past. So I was just like, I'm not into it. Let's go find out what's actually possible. Once you make that shift to knowing what's actually possible for your life, it is so exciting to plan goals. And again, you want to be an emotional adult before you do this because you want to maintain that excitement. You want to be well managed in your mind because once you get excited about something and you decide you want to create it, it's going to bring up your shit. It's going to bring up all your fears and you've got to be ready to face them. So you now are dictated by your current belief. You're dictated by your past experience. Your brain is going to be like, we've never done that before. We don't have evidence we can do it. And it's just going to shut down operations. It's going to be, well, meeting's over, good talk, and never do anything else. You're limited by what's familiar and what's comfortable. Your brain is hanging on to these things so tight, like a little wubby, because again, safety and survival. It thinks familiar and comfortable is safe and will help you survive. But no, we're all dying. So you might as well not cling to the things that are keeping you stuck, holding you back, keeping you limited. You might as well fling yourself forward, get a little uncomfortable, and enjoy the journey. And so this is the vessel that takes you over here, which we're going to talk about. This is the 5-step process I'm going to give you, is the vessel that takes you from where you are now to where you want to be in the future from this unlimited standpoint. I got really excited with my marker. It's very exciting to recognize your limitlessness. So you in the future, instead of your purpose in life to be safety and survival, your purpose is self-awareness, which is very different. We aren't living in caveman times. We aren't in a desert having to forage and hunt for food. We don't need this old paradigm of thinking anymore. It's not serving us. It's turning us against each other. It's making us crumble apart societally. We need to be the leaders who step out first and say, okay, I'm not going to focus on safety and survival anymore because it's not useful. It has us fucking everything up. My main focus, what I'm going to live out of now, is building self-awareness and standing for a mission. I put mission here because when you have a why that compels you forward into your future, this process is going to be so easy. Mine is so easy because I have such a passion for dismantling oppression, for liberating minds that are trapped in this limited prison. I have such a passion for prioritizing emotions and seeing the power behind them. That's my mission. So I use my self-awareness and my mission to keep me in this unlimited space. I notice when my brain wants to go to survival and be like, you're going to die. You can't make money. You can't sign clients, right? You're going to die, blah, blah, blah. And I have to notice that it's just my brain freaking out. That's what brains do. Nothing has gone wrong. And so I also create certainty in this self-aware place. I create how I feel. I get to decide how I feel, not my circumstances, not what's going on around me. I don't have to wait to feel certain. I don't have to have everything outside of me complying with what I think should happen for me to feel certain. I can create it no matter what. And nothing is more secure than that. Nothing is more confidence building than that. I'm also regulated in this future place. I manage my emotions. I'm an emotional adult. I've got my ego in check. And then I have clear perception of truth. My mind is no longer tricking me into believing a bunch of lies under a warped perception. I know anything is possible. And so I question my thoughts really, really easily. Anytime my brain says, you can't do that. You're not smart enough. You've never done that. That's too hard. You're asking for too much. That's a warped perception. So I know how to question those thoughts and see clearer. My awareness empowers me into this future place. And this is, once we've used this vessel to come over here, we are now sitting on created beliefs, not the recycled ones from our past experience, but the ones we decided will serve us the most on our mission. And you get to decide to believe whatever you want. This is a fun process of creation to decide what you want your self-worth to be, what you want your income to be, what kind of person you want to be, the kind of relationships you want. You get to create all of that. It's pretty fucking killer. I love it. You're also just loving taking risks. Risks no longer have the same weight, pressure, confusion that they do when you're limited. They're a freeing and exciting experience because you know you're going to win or learn. You don't have losses in this world. It's quite miraculous. You're able to be vulnerable. You're able to ask for help. You're able to fail and get yourself out there and let yourself be rejected. Let people have opinions about you. Let you, whatever, mess up and get tongue-tied like I'm doing right now. You also have a balance now of what's familiar and what's comfortable and what's unfamiliar and what's uncomfortable. You have a little taste of both. You are self-aware enough to keep yourself balanced so you're not seesawing too far into staying comfortable, but also not in a miserable place of constant discomfort that doesn't serve you. You've got a little balance of what's familiar and what's new, what's comfortable, what's uncomfortable. And this is kind of like riding, if life is water, over here we're drowning, we can't swim, we've got no life raft. Over here we're fucking having a blast. We've got life preservers, we've got a surfboard, it's a fucking gorgeous day and we're having a ball. You're surfing on the water, you're no longer drowning. That's what that is. You don't need evidence to create things. If you've never done something before and you're over here in this place, you're really unlimited, you're like, easy, I'll try it, I can do anything. I can literally do anything, and I know that that's true. That's not an unrealistic thing once you understand what's really possible. And then you have such a high self-concept, such high self-trust. You feel so worthy and deserving of everything you want because, again, you've decided to create your beliefs. Why on earth, when our current beliefs are so shitty, why on earth wouldn't we create a high self-concept? Why wouldn't we decide, I am worthy of that? I am powerful. I am capable of any change I want to make. I can figure this out. Why wouldn't we choose that? People are over here like fucking hating themselves, thinking it's noble. And I'm like, no, that's just stupid. It's stupid to not have your back. It's stupid to not trust yourself. It's stupid to think low of yourself and think, I can't, I'm not good enough, blah, 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 which we're going to talk about. It's not a problem that you think that. I don't mean to sound too aggressive here. I just get excited. But what I'm saying is this journey over here, this transformation over here, why wouldn't you do it? If your current beliefs are keeping you in a state of limited, low self-worth, low self-concept. It sounds terrible to me. So let's use an example because I want to show you how normal it is when you're in that current place and you want to get over to that future place. You have to see what's going to come up. And the first thing that comes up is your brain saying, hell no. So I'll use the example of like starting your own business, becoming a full-time entrepreneur, and you introduce to your brain, I think I'd like to work for myself and decide on the amount of money I make and create all these own conditions for myself for a living and not have to work for someone else. This is what comes up. Hell no, that's not real. We can't do that. I don't know how. That's impossible. I'm not going to fail. No, I would fail at that. So I'm going to fail ahead and not ever do it. I would definitely get rejected and everyone would laugh at me and I'd die alone in the woods. I doubt myself too much. I can't do that. I don't believe I can, right? That is what's supposed to come up. That is your brain working healthily, normally. Nothing's gone wrong. You guys know I'm a Ravenclaw. I talk a lot as a coach. I didn't realize that would be a thing. Okay. So this is what comes up. Your brain goes, fuck no, drop that. We're not doing that. Nope. That's what's supposed to happen. And it could be anything. I remember doing this. I want to have an incredible relationship with a dream partner who fits all my wildest dreams. And I want all these specific things. And my brain was just like, fuck no, that doesn't exist. That's not real. Give it up. You're being too unrealistic. You are insane. That's what your brain does. Of course, your brain is going to do this. This is a part of the process. This means you're headed in the right direction. And it is not a problem when your brain has thoughts like this. These are thought errors. This is the part of your brain that's computing. It has a little virus, and I'm the tech guy that's going to come clean it up. I'm going to wipe it clean and be like, you're good. Yes, you had some errors here, but they didn't do any permanent damage. They're not a problem at all. If they pop back up, just call me and I'll get rid of the virus, because that's what I do, right? So you're going to have some thoughts, some sentences in your mind. Your brain's going to tell you, hell no, you can't do that. You're not good enough. You aren't smart enough. All the things, right? That's happened every time I've set an impossible goal for myself and continue to. This comes up. It's so much better when you're just prepared for it. When you're just like, yep, there it is. Of course. Yep, here's my thoughts. Instead of like, oh, it's true and I don't know how, and that must mean I'll never get what I want. It's so depressing. No, it's not a problem that you have these thoughts. It means it's going well. Good job. You're on your way to the impossible. So, I keep bumping this. If you haven't gotten my gist yet, the skill of believing new things, this vessel that's going to take you from current you to future you, this is the most crucial piece. And the way to do it, this isn't the process yet. We're going to get to it in just a second. But the way to it is literally rewiring your neural pathways. And while I'm saying all this, I want you to recognize how uncomfortable these things are. Okay? These things don't feel light, easy, fun, simple. They feel excruciating. They feel scary. I feel nauseous and like I'm going to faint in my body when I practice this skill. Sometimes, not all the time. It was only like twice. But when I took huge leaps in my life to become that future version of me who's unlimited, it was scary to do this work, to make the commitment to myself and the commitment to this process. I felt scared. I felt like, girl, what are you doing? What are you doing? You can't do this. You're not smart enough, blah, 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 blah. So I want you to think of the discomfort it takes to do these things. You see your brain? It's an electrical gray jelly slab. To rewire neural pathways, that is construction going on in your brain. Do you know how like loud and obnoxious and uncomfortable construction is? All day it's going to be like beep, 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 beep. Making myself laugh. It's uncomfortable, it's noisy, it's loud. The cognitive dissonance is a part of that process, which just means you've got half of yourself in this past version that wants to be limited and comfortable, and then this other part of you that wants to feel unlimited, that is willing to get uncomfortable, that wants a better self-concept, that wants to rewrite your inner monologue, that wants to be a self-aware emotional adult, right? These things are not comfy cozy. They are not for wussies, okay? I love how I'm like a girl, I'm a woman. I think I'm one of the bravest people I know. And it's not because I scale mountains and walk across tight ropes over canyons. It's because I have always been willing to be so uncomfortable, to be so self-accountable and responsible for myself. And I think that makes me a fucking badass. I think I'm the hardest hard ass I know. And that's pretty cool, is because I'm not afraid of these things. I'm not afraid of that construction. I'm not afraid of getting my hands dirty and doing this work. And I'm not afraid to commit to this process because I understand the value of wanting to feel unlimited versus staying limited and stuck. I understand the value. So I think I'm kind of a badass. Okay. So let's talk about your brain right now and what it thinks is possible. The realm of possibility, like scientifically, I won't get too into it because I will go on a tangent and it's already 5:30. So anything is possible, but to your brain, that's not true. To your brain, certain things are possible, and you deduce that from the evidence you have, from how certain people are. Is it peer reviewed? Not to, I like science. I have a bachelor of science. I respect it, but also it can become baloney hokey pokey when they're not actually acknowledging the true realm of possibility. So I should be a little less. No, I shouldn't. I should be exactly who I'm being. Good job, Alicia. You're doing good. Thank you. Okay, so what you think is possible according to your brain has to be decided with how realistic it is, and who decides what realistic is, right? The collective, the social norms, what's been done before, how practical it is. Well, let's look at the statistics and let's find all the consumer reports, and then let's make the most practical, safe decision that we can possibly make. I'm going to. Okay, no. Okay. And you're also checking to see how comfortable you'll feel as you do. Am I good? Am I no. I'm kind of being an asshole, but I don't care. I really don't care. It's okay if I piss some people off. You have to check if it's been proven. Is it proven? What are the statistics on entrepreneurs who are women in their 30s who are starting a career? Blah, 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 blah. Like, no, you don't have to go find any of that stuff in order to believe you can do it. It doesn't have to be predictable, but to your brain, it does. It has to comply with social norms. You can't go against social norms. That feels too dangerous when your sole purpose is survival, and survival to your brain means fitting in and never being rejected and never taking risks. There was a gem in there. I would rewind that. As long as it doesn't disturb anyone. That's how your brain determines what's possible. So it can't piss anyone off. It can't be a nuisance. Everyone has to have positive, good thoughts about it before you're willing to do it. It also has to simultaneously please everyone. Can't upset anyone, but it also has to please them. Everyone. Not just some people, the whole world. You know how limiting this is. No transformation is required, which is great for your brain. Your brain doesn't want to get uncomfortable. It doesn't want to do construction on your brain. It doesn't want to change your inner monologue. It wants to keep recycling it until you die. And so I wrote the words, it's easy, but hard, right? This is easier in the sense that you don't have to change, but it's not actually a net result of easier. It becomes harder in the long run. Because as long as you're waiting for evidence and certainty and practicality and comfort to remain and everything to be predictable, you're stifling yourself. You're chopping your soul legs off and not giving yourself the contribution, not being the contribution you could be. You're not showing up as fully and as powerfully as you could be. This is a disservice to yourself and the world. And so that becomes hard. So it might be easier momentarily for the time being, but in the long run, it becomes much, much harder. And I want you guys to see that, is because we have a lot of strong narratives out there that we have to do what's possible. And I think a lot of that is capitalism, keeping the cog working where we don't have control over production of labor, right? And of the spreading of wealth. I can't think of the words. It's set up like this for a reason. So when after your checklist is done, you've got like 2 options. But when you go to what's scientifically possible with the limitlessness of your consciousness, if you understood the influence, the power your mind has, you wouldn't spend any time at this list. And I want you to see that what's actually possible for your life is the exact opposite of this list. If you really want to know what's possible, you just have to play around with it. And you don't need evidence. You don't have to feel certain. You can be totally uncertain the whole way through and just give it a go. How do you think Einstein got the theory of relativity? Was he doing this stuff? No, it would be impossible. There would be no Einstein books. There would be no physics and calculus. I don't think he created those things, but you know what I mean? He contributed so much. Think of the innovators. They were not doing this. They weren't playing it safe. They weren't comfortable. They weren't waiting for things to already be proven before they'd commit to do it. They were over here. It was not realistic. People called them crazy. It was not practical. It was not safe to your brain, right? It's safe to do these things. I'm not encouraging anyone to do anything dangerous, but our brain thinks it's not safe to do something new, to do something impossible. Okay. And so it is the realm of possibility, but to your brain, it's the realm of impossibility. Anything you haven't done before feels impossible to your brain, and that's not a problem. It's still possible, even though it's not proven. It's still possible, even though you can't predict what will happen. It's still possible, even though it will challenge people. It will challenge social norms. It will challenge yourself to show up in a way you never thought possible. It will disturb some people's comfort. That's okay. You're not responsible for them. As long as you're a responsible, emotional adult, you know that that's not your job to make them comfortable. It's not your job to tend to your feelings. In fact, you help them by disturbing them and showing them how to tend to your own. It pleases you. I wrote this one here because in the limited realm, we're thinking we have to please other people, and that cuts our legs off. This pleases you and it fuels you because you're not doing it for that approval, right? You're not doing it for everyone else. This is a intimate gift you're giving to yourself to go into the realm of what's actually possible for your life. Transformation is required. You cannot create impossible things if you don't commit to transformation. You cannot blow your mind and have so much fun if you don't commit to transformation. If you want to be comfortable, you don't get to have a transformation. If you want it to be easy, you don't get to have a transformation. Transformation is difficult, but it's simple. It doesn't have to be confusing. It doesn't have to be miserable. It feels difficult at times, but it's simple. And there's a way through it. And I highly recommend not doing it alone. So this is the message I want to leave you guys. Well, we're not even done yet. We haven't done the process, but it's about to come up. So you can have everything you want and more. You don't have to sacrifice or think of what's practical or realistic to create this. Most people are under the assumption that sacrifice has to be made. And if I get what I want, other people lose. Or if I ask for too much, I'm greedy and wrong and will be rejected. Or if I don't suffer anymore, if I just have a joyful, liberated, limitless life, I'll hurt someone somehow. So I'd rather stay making sacrifices and stay suffering because that's where most of the people in the world are. If I play this out for you guys, I want you to see how sacrificing your joy and everything you want, not only does it not help you, but it doesn't help this world we live in. We can't be poor enough to help poor people. We can only create wealth and then have a position of actual, literal, legit resources in front of us to go help the poor. We can't be miserable enough to go help the miserable, right? The misery would double. It would compound upon itself. You have to go become so fearlessly joyful, so present, so pleased with your life and in control of your mind, and then go to the miserable. And you will change them. You will change their misery from how you show up. And so I have to sell you guys on no longer making sacrifices because this is a choice you're making. You have so much control over the results you create in your life. And most of you are choosing to not only not have even half of what you want, but you're making so many sacrifices along the way because you don't have this skill. You don't know how to believe in possible things. You're so limited to the way we're conditioned to think and show up that you're just making these sacrifices, not getting what you want, and then blaming all of that on other people. It's not their fault. It's your job to do it. And so I remember making my first vision board, and it was all impossible to me. I still had a low self-concept. I hadn't had a coach yet, so I didn't know that that was supposed to happen in my brain, where it freaks out and says, you can't have this. You're asking for too much. That's impossible. Who are you to have this? You're so this, you're so that, you're not enough, right? All the thoughts. But I just did it anyway. I said, what if I could have it though? A little voice that was just a little curious enough to pull me forward, to pull me into transformation and discomfort without wavering in my commitment to it. And I did it with my partner. I did it with the house I live in. I said, I want all these things, and I'm saying no if it's not that. And the world would say, oh no, but you should take it. It's so convenient. It's so predictable, right? It's right there. It's all these things. And I would say, nope, I want everything I want and more. And you want to know what happened when I committed to this and I let my fears and doubts like assault me, and I handled them, and I handled my ego, and I managed my emotions? When I broke out of that season of transformation, not only did I get everything on my checklist, but it was more than I could have imagined. It was better than I imagined. It was so rewarding, and it blew my fucking mind, and it continues to do so. When I wrote years ago, I want to work for myself, and I want to make this money, and I want to have my dog in my office. Impossible. You're dreaming, kid. Get over yourself. Stop pretending, right? Stop lying to yourself. Manifestation, right? Everyone wants to shit on this stuff, but they don't know the pain and the discomfort it takes to create it because they don't have the balls to commit to this process. I got the kahunas. And guess what? I keep getting everything I want and more. And it just keeps getting better. And I'm not making any sacrifice. The only sacrifice is my commitment to being uncomfortable throughout this process. But I'm excited about that. I expect it. I'm ready for it. It's not really a sacrifice in the world's eyes. The world's eyes is either I lose or you win, or you win and I lose. No, we all win in this paradigm when we recognize the power of our mind and what the actual realm of possibility is for our lives. When you limit yourself and you say, well, I could have this, but that's asking for too much, and there's not really people out there like that, and oh, the market is so bad, so I'll never find. You just limit yourself. You don't commit to what you want, and so you don't get what you want because you're over here settling for less and making sacrifices, thinking you have to. That's just what's practical. That's just what's realistic. And to the old world, it is. But to the new world, I love being unrealistic. I love pissing people off, saying, I'm going to make this amount of money next year. And they're like, you can't do that. And I'm like, watch me. You don't know how to believe impossible things. Let me show you. So here's the 5-step process. The very first step is to confront and challenge the limitations that are present in your mind, the current ones that have a hold on your mind. And this is uncomfortable. A limitation is just a sentence in your brain that you think is true. I want it to sound as simple as that. It's not scary. It's not a lot of work. It's just a simple process of coaching. That is the best way to do it. Don't try to do it without coaching because we tend to flail and beat ourselves with a stick and push ourselves 10 steps backwards when we try to do it without a professional. So you have to confront and challenge your limitations, and this is not comfortable because these things are blocking you. These things are guarding you from this transformation you want. And so they're not going to give up the fight easily, right? They want to keep you in your comfort zone. And so it's me against them. That's what I tell my clients. I'm like, you've got a defense attorney that's fighting for your limitations, but fighting to keep them, fighting to keep you where you are. And I'm the opposing attorney. And I've got to pose all my arguments and all my evidence for why you should let your limitations go. And on your own, you're going to let your brain win every time. That's a slick lawyer you've got in your head that's going to be like, no, you don't really need that. Or you're pretty happy. And Everything's fine right now, so I'm good. I don't need to change. Ugh, such a slick lying lawyer. But it's keeping you stuck and miserable and away from everything you want that you deserve and are worthy of. And it's available to you. There's more than enough for everyone. No one loses when you win. And you really got to hear that, because your brain still thinks in that sacrifice mode, still thinks you succeeding and having everything you want would somehow hurt people. No, it would bless this motherfucking world. It would be medicine for our souls to have you in a state of joy. 2, you have to get excited for this discomfort, for this uncomfortable process, right? And so you have to convince your brain, have your brain on board and be in charge of your brain, be that emotional adult, like I said, to understand the value of this exchange of discomfort. Because it's more uncomfortable to stay stuck than it is to go through a process of transformation and come out on the other side with everything you want, or at least equipped with the ability to go get everything you want. And so this is where the cognitive dissonance comes in. And we call the process, the next step, river of misery for a reason. So before you go into the river of misery, you got to have the reason you're going in so fresh and so clean in your mind. I'm doing it because of this, right? Whatever your reason is. For me, it was my mission. For me, it was because I wanted to prove what was possible and be an example of it. For me, I wanted to defy all limitations. And that was exciting enough for me to decide, oh, I'm going to go in and get uncomfortable. And once I had my why and I loved my reasons and I was really clear and I was committed and knew I wasn't going to quit, I hopped in that river of misery. And so this just means you're going in the cocoon, right? You're going in as a caterpillar. It's still you. We're not leaving the old you behind. We're transforming it into something that can elevate you. You can go to new places, reach new heights, see new things, access new possibilities once you come out of this cocoon. And so if you see the value of that on the other side, yes, this river of misery is going to be quite miserable at times. I'm not promising it feels good. It doesn't. I'm in the process of building a business and scaling it, and I'm choosing to go in that river again and again. And I'm just like, whoo, this is going to suck. Let's do it. I know I'll make it out. I know it'll be all right. Let's fucking do it. And so we have to connect with that end of the river you, the one who's made it out, made it through the transformation. She's out of the cocoon already. You have to connect with her while you're in it and before you're in the river of misery, and just ask her, all right, what do I need to do? Who do I have to become to come out on this other side with everything I want? What are the actual action steps? But then what are also the beliefs I have to have about myself and my identity and what I'm capable of? This is tedious work. Not only is the river of misery uncomfortable, but you have to work in it. You're not sitting here manifesting. I love when people make fun of that shit. I'm like, that's not what manifesting is. It's fucking grueling work that you take the time to prioritize and do or don't. And so you access this future version of yourself that's already across, and you connect with that feeling of it's already done, and you hold that in your mind, right? You also have to check in and make sure the goal you're after aligns with what you really want. Because sometimes we'll set goals that aren't ours, and our soul and our nervous system won't come along with us. And we'll be like, what's going on? Why isn't it working? And it's like, oh, you don't want that. You want that because your mom wants that for you. So stop. You can't use this process again for things that aren't in alignment with you to find the approval of your mom. No, that's not what this process is for. It's for blowing your mind for fun. And in order to actually blow your mind and not your mom's mind, it has to be what you want. You have to check in and be honest and vulnerable with yourself. You gotta be an emotional adult to do those things. So you've got this connection and this feeling of what it'll be like when it's already done, when what you want is done. And step 4 is just executing that action, that plan that your future self gave you. We don't know how we're exactly going to do something before we do it, but we do know the steps it takes to get there, right? Last year, I didn't know how to start a podcast, but when I connected with my future self and was like, okay, we're doing this. How do I do it? It's figuring out a bunch of steps along the way. Okay, well, you've got to have a microphone and you have to have a podcasting platform and you have to have artwork and you have to get content ready and you have to record every week and then edit the audio, right? I knew those action steps, but that didn't mean I know how to do them. I had to trial and error my way through figuring it out. And so that's the executing the plan. It's just actually getting to it. You're halfway in the river of misery while you're doing this plan, but that's not a problem. That's where you're supposed to be. That's where transformation takes place. And so this is where you win or learn. You don't fail, right? Technically, you're failing your way forward, which is a beautiful thing, but you don't label it as a negative failure. You check it off as a very positive thing. Oh, I tried. I failed. I sucked at that. Great. What did I learn? It's not, oh, I failed. That's a reason to quit and I'm not good enough, right? That's what your brain will do. That's why you got to be an emotional adult. So you go, you do the math. There's math and then there's drama. If you have drama, take it to a coach. Get help with it. Clean it up. Get back to the math. This does not have to be hard. One step at a time. How on earth could I have done all the shit I've done in the time frame I've done it if it wasn't just a math problem? Right? You can't create the results I've created with drama. You have to clean it up. And the only reason for the speed I have in creating what I want and getting what I want is because I go get help with my drama, with my brain, my beautiful human brain. Nothing's wrong with it. I just need help with that drama sometimes. And the rest is math, and I can do that. I can work through it. I can try the problem. I can work the problem one step at a time until I figure it out, until it's here. And finally, the last step is you got to practice self-awareness, because the whole way through this process, you're going to notice, oh, I'm in a rush. I got to get there. You're going to notice, oh, I'm comparing myself. I'm beating myself up. I'm getting bogged down by all these thoughts that I can't do it and I'm not good enough, right? You got to notice when you're using believing impossible things against yourself. When you think you're behind or you're missing something or you're doing it wrong, right? Without self-awareness, those things are going to wipe you out. They're going to make it not fun. They're going to keep you from blowing your mind. So you have to maintain and practice self-awareness throughout every step of believing impossible things. Because of course, it's impossible because you've never done it before. Impossible to you may not be impossible to someone else, right? Me making $50,000 as an entrepreneur was so impossible to me. I was like, you got to be kidding me. No way that's real, man, right? Jess from New Girl. That's not real. But to my teachers, to so many people I know who make well over six figures, they're like, that's not hard. What? Right? So what's impossible for you, it's all about you. It's impossible for you. It doesn't matter if it's possible or impossible to someone else. All that matters is, it's impossible to me because I've never done that before. Do I want it? Do I like my reasons for it? Am I being an emotional adult? Do I want to blow my mind and have some fun? There's your goal. There's your impossibility. It could be something as simple as, I want to rest more in the day. That could feel impossible to someone who works from sun up to sundown, doesn't know how to slow down, right? But then to the next person, they'd be like, what? I rest like 7 days a week for 5 hours, right? I watch TV. I watch 8 hours of TV a day. What are you talking? That's not right. So this is such an individual experience. What's impossible to you doesn't mean it's actually impossible. It just means to you, you've never done it. So you need to use this process no matter what it is. It's a unique journey for you, not for other people. We all need to be setting our own impossible goals. What's impossible for you, and getting to the point where we believe it's possible with the help of a coach, and confronting and challenging the blocks from believing it's possible. And then just keep having fun with it. Okay. I've got a couple more pieces of paper and then we're going to wrap up. But I teach a model to my clients, which is what these letters are. They stand for circumstance, thought, feeling, action, result. And so I want you to notice what happens when you're in a model without this process. When you try to do an impossible goal, something you've never done before, right? I want to rest more. I want to find a partner who respects me. I want my perfect house that meets all of my criteria. I want to start a business I've never done before. That's impossible goal, right? I'm not saying go to Mars, but you could literally, don't limit yourself. You could put anything here you want. Anything you want, you can put here. But without this process, here's what happens. These initial thoughts come up. They always do. I can't. I've never done that. It's not possible. I don't know how. That's not real. I don't want to believe that. That's not realistic, right? All these thoughts come, and our thoughts cause our feelings. And so these thoughts, these initial onslaught of thoughts, make you feel defeated, discouraged, afraid, doubtful, insecure, miserable, bitter, resentful, a nice combo of all of those emotions and more. And when our emotions, our feelings drive our behavior, these emotions lead us to quit ahead of time. They have us holding ourselves back, ourselves back from what we're really capable of doing. And we feel this in our soul. It's very uncomfortable. It's very frustrating. We never try, we never start, we never take any action. And if we do, it's half-assed and we're already anticipating quitting, right? It's not very inspiring. It's not very motivated. It's very forceful, controlling, willpower, all coming from these emotions: discouraged, defeated, fear. We are shaming and judging ourselves because look where we're coming from. We're coming from a place of misery. So misery loves the company of shame and judgment. So that's what you're doing. You're collecting more evidence for why you don't deserve what you want. Oh, it's just not realistic. It's impossible, right? I'm not worthy of it. Those things aren't true. They're just a brain not being managed. You feel overwhelmed or anxious or burnt out or frustrated, any flavor of those kind of ways of showing up when we're not managing our mind. You pity yourself. You think the world's working against you. You think something's out to get you. You feel cursed. You feel stuck. You feel indecisive. You can't make decisions and you just spin and spin in a confusion. You severely limit yourself when you don't have to. You choose to limit yourself. And so the result that creates for you is you never blow your mind. You never create the impossible. You don't have fun. You don't even try. You don't commit to transformation, right? Because you're not setting yourself up. When we're in this state of mind, choosing these thoughts, we can't blow our mind. We're not setting the stage to blow our mind. So this is what I want you to look out for. This is what most people are doing. And they're feeling like a victim to their impossible goals, but they're not. It's a choice. They're staying with what their brain originally offers them, and they're just staying there when they don't have to. You have unlimited possibility. So here's the process I just gave you in the model while you're working it, while you're using the transformation, you're doing this stuff. So you have new beliefs. These are the 3 empowering beliefs I'm going to leave you with today. And if you're not an emotional adult, these might not hit. But that's why you're going to want to do the work to become an emotional adult as soon as possible. It's the most crucial life skill because if you want to believe in possible things, you have to be an emotional adult. I get to choose my thoughts. That is the most empowering thought you could tell yourself. And when you really understand how that's true through the process of coaching and getting coached, it will be your most empowering thought that you always want to have on hand. Because when you get to choose your thoughts and you're aware of how this really works, you also know I get to choose my feelings. I get to choose how I show up today. And I get to ultimately choose what results I create. I can put anything in my R line, any amount of money, any relationship, any future thing I want, or how I want to feel, or whatever experience I want to have, I can create it because I get to choose my thoughts. That is the most powerful sentence you can start telling yourself. I get to decide my future. Equally powerful, right? You are not a victim to what's going to happen. You don't have to be afraid of your future. You don't have to feel uncertain about what's coming. You can just start creating your future on purpose. You'll never be able to control the things that are uncontrollable, but if you learn to control your thoughts, you will be deciding your future as a result. The universe wants me to have everything I want and more. Look at nature. This is my spirituality is very coupled with nature. Nature is abundance. Nature takes care of everything. It so effortlessly works together to support every little thing. Everything's connected. Everything has the ability to thrive. This is how I choose to think about my human experience as well. Although we live in a world that's very oppressed, exploited, and destructive, I don't have to participate in that world by feeling like a victim to it or feeling angry about it. I can go into this nature side of things and understand that I'm supported by this whole universe. The universe wants me to have what I want. It wants to support me abundantly. I don't have to settle for crumbs. I don't have to sacrifice. I am here, so I deserve incredible things, and I deserve to be supported, and I deserve abundant life. And this has a lot to do with checking your ego and making sure what you want is in alignment with your soul and not your ego. If what you're wanting is from your ego, the universe will not support that. You're going to have a hard time. If what you're wanting is in alignment with your soul, your inner being, your heart, you can't stop what's coming your way. Even if you tried, you're going to get it. It's going to happen. And it's going to be better than you imagined, and it's going to blow your mind. Those are the thoughts I want to leave you with, because these thoughts create different emotions. They create certainty, motivation, inspiration, and a feeling of unlimitedness, right? Self-assuredness, open-minded, trusting, faithful. So many good emotions out there that we could be using in our favor, but we have to be an emotional adult and know how to manage our thoughts first. When you feel these positive ways, which I'm not saying you're supposed to feel positive all the time, but it's better than suffering. So you start to understand what's really possible and get excited about it. You start developing this skill like your life depends on it. It becomes your number one priority. I prioritize my brain and my coaching above, like right after my mortgage and food. I'm like, nothing else that's right up there. That is my survival now, is focusing on my brain, because that's how powerful it is. I get uncomfortable on purpose and I don't make it a problem. I look forward to it. I'm like, yay, I'm going to get uncomfortable and then I'm going to get everything I want and I'm going to blow my mind. It's going to be so fun. I stay committed. I don't find excuses to quit. I don't waver on my commitment. I don't let the doubts that come up that say you can't, you're not good enough, stop my commitment. I stay committed to my mission, to my awareness. And I trust myself. The most magical relationship we could ever have is the one we have with ourselves. There's so much potential there for beauty and intimacy and love. And when you don't have your back, when you don't choose to understand yourself or support yourself in really rewarding ways, you're never going to find it outside of you. No one's ever going to come through and replace the love and trust that you need to have in yourself. And so, of course, what happens in this model when you're using the process is you blow your mind. You make the impossible happen, which I've done several times, which I'm very proud of. That's it. That's how you do it, guys. I want to leave you with this message because I've been in practice for almost 2 years now, and I've served a lot of clients, and I have my own experience of this. And what happens is we understand things theoretically really, really well. We have very smart brains, especially the kind of clientele I get, very ambitious, very responsible, very practical in a positive way, right? But when we try to do this on our own without supervision, we try to apply the theory we understand at a surface level, we damage our self-concept. We damage our self-trust because we don't have the skills to do this without supervision. Supervision is required for applying this work. And this is coming to you from a coach who invested 18 grand in my certification. I thought, oh, I'm certified now. I won't need help from another coach. Not the case. Not only is it an expensive skill to even learn how to supervise this application, because it is, and it's so valuable. And I love the school I got certified at. They are the most integrity, beautiful, like in alignment with soul people you could ever find. Best decision I ever made. But it doesn't replace the application of needing help. Don't underestimate your brain's ability to self-sabotage. Okay, we are humans. We need each other. We need to help each other out. That is not a bad thing. That does not mean something's wrong with you. That does not mean you're less worthy of what you want because you need to ask for help, right? I believe in this work so hard, and yet I still go get help with applying because applying without supervision can be really damaging. And when you try to do it on yourself, you're going to waste a lot of time, energy, and money because you're thinking you can do it on your own. Right? You maybe can, but it's gonna take more time, more money, and more energy than it would if you did it with a coach. We tend to use these theories against ourselves when we don't apply them with supervision. And so again, I don't want this to feel like a problem because it's not. All the good coaches I know have coaches. Get coached, have business coach, personal coach, whatever. I wouldn't trust any coach out there that doesn't have their own coach, in my honest opinion. So I want you guys to be aware of this because it's not a message I've really been giving because it kind of feels like I don't want you to think I'm like hurting you here. But through my own experience and seeing my clients coming to me going, oh, I understood all of this, but I still feel so stuck and ashamed and whatever. It's because you're trying to apply it without supervision and you hurt yourself that way. So I want you to avoid that. You're better off not researching this theory, not caring about these self-help ideas if you're going to apply it on your own without supervision. If you're interested in growth, invest in a coach. Get the help. It will save you so much. Time is your most valuable thing, my friends. And so if you're worried about 1 hour a week with a coach or the investment itself or putting your neck out and taking the risk, the only thing that's going to help you process through those kind of things and change and transform the way you show up to those things is through coaching. So the obstacle is the way, right? What you think is holding you back from getting coaching is the exact thing you need coaching for now first. So this is coming from genuine experience, my passion for this work, and my love for you because I want you to have everything you want and more. I know you deserve it. I believe in you, but I don't want you to apply this stuff without supervision because this is a whole ass skill that I facilitate. And if you haven't been trained or certified in it, I would not try to do it on your own. Okay. I love you guys. You are invited to book a free consultation if you want, which I know you guys do. I know you do. I know you want transformation. So you are ready for that. You're ready to commit, right? You're ready to get excited, to get uncomfortable. You're ready to feel unlimited. I know you are. You are hungry for it. So I'm not even going to say if you're ready because I know you are. So go to my website, aliciaturnercoaching.com, and book a free consultation. It's really simple on that call. I just make sure, right, a lot of what we talked about today, that you want transformation, you're ready for it, you're committed, and you know what it will take to work together. You understand the assignment. That's that consult is for. So I want you guys to get excited for your future, to understand your limitless possibilities, and to start this journey to loving yourself, right? Oh, I was going to say something, but where did I put it? I didn't use my notes at all today. Yeah. I kind of already said that. Yeah, so if you have questions about my program, get that consult, schedule it now. There's a limited amount every month, so grab yours and I will see you there. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for watching. I love ya.